Mr. Pandaria almost here with so much new content. We're talking beloved raids like Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, polished class balancing, much hyped arenas, and a huge focus on open world exploration, even epic world boss battles. But with Looking for Raid being removed in MoP Classic and the cross-realm group finder intentionally blocked in Cataclysm, thanks I guess, picking the right server is suddenly a whole lot more important than it was back in 2012. Otherwise, you'll be stuck on a dead server, paying for another server transfer just 3 months from now. So first, let's talk about the rumors that Blizzard might merge the servers together, creating a handful of Megaservers. Currently, Cataclysm Classic is split into 24 separate servers, and only 10 have over 4,000 active raiders. It's obviously just a complete mess, and even longtime players have no idea what server to go to. So in April 2024, senior game producer Tom Ellis, he took to the forums to suggest a really cool idea, a mass server merger. This would create a mega server where players could easily find groups for raids and arenas, and where the open world would be a whole lot more alive, or spicy as Tom called it. Merging the servers together was an immensely popular idea, and even though it didn't end up happening in time for Cata's launch in May 2024, it really did feel like Blizzard was fighting for the players. They were on our side. But then, unfortunately, everything changed in February 2025. Without warning, the Cross-Realm Arena tool relied on by every PvP player to find their arena partners, their battleground teammates. It just stopped working. On the highly populated servers like Gehenna's, Fairlina, Firemaw, the impact was felt immediately, but it wasn't a death blow. On smaller servers like Grobulus and Whitemane though, a non-functioning cross-realm PvP finder meant that the PvP population was almost wiped out entirely. PvP participation dropped to what felt like the lowest amount of participants in WoW maybe ever, according to poster BFA Classic. For weeks, players waited anxiously for a bug fix. They checked the forums, they posted daily threats in an attempt to get Blizzard to fix the broken group finder tool. And then, in mid-March 2025, one of the most controversial forum posts in WoW history was posted by Blizzard staff member Ty Scorn. He says, "We've had confirmation this is an intentional restriction rather than a bug. I hope you'll get a chance to get to know some of the regulars on your prospective realms." I hope you'll get to know some of the regulars on your prospective realms? My realm has 800 players. If that out-of-touch response wasn't bad enough though, after a few days of some of the most disappointed, depressed players responding to the thread, Blizzard just went and locked it completely, hoping I guess for players to just stop caring. But much like when I trapped all my guests in my roller coaster tycoon park, it's pretty hard to keep people happy when they're trapped on a dead server with nobody to raid or PvP with. From March to June 2025, as small servers continued to struggle with a lack of active people to group up with, the forum posts from upset players kept coming. In May, Lasershock made a popular post asking for news about server consolidation. Most players in that thread, they agreed with him, but Blizzard, they just stayed far away. Then Gutsy made a post about any amount of communication about server health going into MoP. Not a single peep was heard from Blizzard. Then Crudlord, he made a post in June desperately asking for server merges. The servers are dead, where are the merges? When are they coming? That was met with radio silence from the game company. Being a journalist over here, I had to know, were the servers as imbalanced as people were saying? Maybe the issue was overblown. Maybe Blizzard was right to be ignoring the complaints. So in June, I started searching for a new home for MoP. The first problem I immediately encountered was that all of my friends were on completely different servers. Hammerdance and Scotty J, they were on Mankirk. My Sod friends were on Benediction, making a new guild called Panda Express, while my longtime Wrath friends from Adequate, they were still on Fairlina. What's so frustrating about this is there's no correct server choice here. Picking any of the major servers still means I'll probably never get a chance to play with certain people, maybe ever. When people ask me, what server should I play on Jerome, I really don't have a good answer for you. But ultimately, with the arena group finder being broken, I really wanted to pick the biggest pool of arena teammates possible. Because of that, I ended up deciding on Benediction. It's got a huge amount of Alliance PvPers, and as much as I hate Alliance, I had to do it. Inevitably though, that meant buying 3 character transfers for $35, and the 3 faction transfers for another $42. As a one-time cost, I could maybe stomach that. But how likely is it that the server I ended up picking ends up being the main server a year from now? The odds that I'm packing up and moving to a completely new server for WoD Classic, they're really high, and that's a huge problem. I would love to hear what server you guys plan to be playing MoP Classic on though. Very interested in that. So anyways, our server story, it continues, because in June, Blizzard decided they would be removing the Looking for Raid feature from MoP Classic. Whether you're an LFR fan or you think it killed the game, the fact that Blizzard removed LFR supposedly to strengthen social bonds and encourage social play, when over half the servers are on life support right now, it just kind of rings hollow. Maybe the social bonds are just stronger when you only have 800 active players on your server? I don't know. Back to LFR for a second though. Even if you hate LFR, a game company picking and choosing what they liked and what they disliked from a game that already came out 13 years ago, it kind of feels wrong. You are the person who should be deciding whether the server mergers should be happening. You are the person who should be deciding whether LFR should be added or not. Where is your input being factored in? They didn't listen to you on removing the PvP group finder. And where's the community polling on removing LFR? Where are the responses in the forum posts about whether to merge the servers together? It might ultimately all come down to one line from one Blizzard dev's reasoning for why they don't publicly poll users, why they don't let the players decide what happens. The reasoning is that the polls are easily brigaded. They don't want Asmongold showing up and throwing his weight behind something that ultimately is unpopular or maybe hurts the game. But putting aside the fact that you could have in-game polling that requires an active character like in RuneScape, is being afraid of Asmongold really the best way for a billion-dollar corporation to operate? Is it really that they're afraid of Asmongold tilting the poll results, or is it more likely that Blizzard long ago had their mind made up on removing the Cross-Realm Arena Finder, the LFR, not merging the servers? For them, a poll would be a major inconvenience since their carefully laid plans might end up having to change. I think it really comes down to the fact that if Blizzard puts a poll in game about whether to merge the servers, it's going to be 80% or higher in favor. I know it, you know it, they know it. And ultimately, if they set a precedent of polling major decisions like server merges or removing LFR, they'd have to listen to the player base and they'd have to factor the player base into every decision. And sometimes, this is where it gets inconvenient, the players won't always agree with your direction of the game. I get that not everything can be polled or these games would literally never come out, but hey, we pay for the game, we should have more input in the big picture things. And when we don't get to have input, we should at least get more communication, more explanations of why things are going to be the way they are. MoP is going to be one of the best gaming experiences of 2025 for many of us. The raids are still talked about for a reason. Classes like Arms Warriors, Frost Mages, they play like a dream. And the PvP is legendary for a reason. But if the server situation isn't resolved in time for launch, MoP Classic is not going to reach its full potential. I just don't want to see them give us an 8 out of 10 version of a 10 out of 10 expansion. We don't have to make a poll to know most people, they would agree with that. So what do you think about the server situation in MoP Classic? What should be done to fix things fast? Let me know in the comments and make sure to click like and subscribe so you don't miss my ultimate pre-patch guide coming very soon.